This is Talk the Devils, the athletic show dedicated to Manchester United. We're back in the studio. We're a few days on from Arsenal. So we're going to have a look at the reflections really from the game, go back into the goalkeeping situation, the buzz of the new boys, and also ask the question, where was Kobbie Mainoo? There's a new academy director at the club, so we'll have all the details on the appointment of Steve Torpey, and Fulham are up next as well. Does the season start again now? United need a win, and it's only match 2. So yeah, we're here in the studio. Carl and Laurie here again, and Carl has joined us today. Carl, you okay?
I'm doing well, thanks. Sorry I missed Sunday, but excellent episode as usual.
Thank you, Carl. It's very kind of you to say. I'm sure today will be the same. Andy, you've been busy since our last record, haven't you? You've been going to see one of the world's biggest bands in one of those renowned musical areas in England.
I can't believe I'd not even made this public that I've done
for good
this.
reason.
Yeah, I've also watched Altrincham in a non-league game.
Okay. But you've been to see Coldplay in Hull.
I saw on... Oh, no, where's this going now? I saw that they were in Hull.
Yeah.
And I was in the Trafford Centre with my mum on Monday and looked on a tickets website and saw that I could get a ticket for 70 quid.
Okay.
Jumped in my car and drove over to Hull. And
you weren't caught on a camera with anyone that you shouldn't be, were you?
Nah. I used to go out with a girl in Hull. Right. I don't even know why I'm telling this, but I will do. Went to see her once and said, let's go to the park. She went, you don't know any parks in Hull? I went, I do. Boothry Park. 2 hours later, I'm watching Hull City against Wycombe Wanderers. Split up the following week.
You did well to last a week. Let's speak about Arsenal. The lads had a say straight after the game on Sunday, Carl. What did you think? I mean, there was a lot of positivity about it, and I'm keen to keep that going as long as possible. What did you think?
An encouraging defeat, or as encouraging of defeat as you can get. Look, I predicted United to finish 8th, which means, unfortunately, that means United are going to lose games, even if they do play well. And I think, yeah, there's patches in that performance that you can be really heartened about. I think Cunha was very, very good. His ball carrying, the way he's making the ball stick is great. I think in Mbeumo, really, really nice touches there. Quite enjoy the fact that he's taken over corner duties on the right-hand side from Bruno Fernandes. So that left in-swinger is fun. Matthijs de Ligt had a good game. Good. That's good. Confidence problem at goalkeeper. Still got confidence problem in central midfield. And
our confidence problem in central midfield more than theirs.
And there was 2 or 3 moments where the ball's gone out wide and you're looking up and you're going, oh God, there's no one in the box. There was one particular thing that stood out for me. It got ruled off for offside, but there was a little good interplay between Mbeumo and Dalot, and Dalot's sort of right where you want him on in the final third, and you look and he's about to get the cross in. You go, there's no one there. That will hopefully change when Šeško is up to full speed. I talked to a couple of ex-pros about Šeško's 30 minutes, and one of them pointed out that the first 5 yards and how quickly he can move should be really, really good. So at this point in time where not too many Premier League defenders know too much about him, he should just be constantly running at them just to see if they drop a proverbial.
I was watching him, I don't think I mentioned this, but I was watching him making runs actually towards the end of that game, and there was one particular moment where they broke down the right-hand side with Ahmad, and Šeško went left, then he went right, then he went left, then he went right, and I was like, oh, hang on. I've not seen a United striker do that for a while.
He's doing double movement. There was one, there was one, Dorgu's on the left, and so for the majority of the time he was on the field, he was hunting in the space between Gabriel and the fullback, which I thought was really interesting, because Gabriel is somewhat considered to be the more put your elbow in the back of the striker. So the fact he was hiding there means he wasn't shirking it.
No.
So he started in that position, and as the ball was going left, he looks around and he realizes, oh, the ball's probably unlikely to get to me at the back post, and he just makes this run towards the near post, and it opens up all this extra space for Mbeumo to get a header in. Had a attempt. It's the bit where Mbeumo and Ahmad sort of all getting X's and O's and they can't get a shot away. But just Šeško realizing, I'm not going to get the ball here, so the best place for me to be is actually to drag away the defenders there. That's what you want. And hopefully, when he builds a greater affinity with everyone in the team, he's going to get a lot of those sort of striker assists where he's just moving defenders out of the way for other people.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he starts at Fulham. We'll talk about that game and the team that might feature in it a little bit later on. But we had a lot of messages, Laurie, about the fact we didn't talk about the challenge on Matheus Cunha from William Saliba, and obviously the fact that a penalty wasn't given. Ryan on Instagram, for example, was very surprised that he didn't hear it mentioned. I don't think this is the right show to be moaning about decisions time and time again, unless it's absolutely glaring, I guess.
Unless the ball hasn't gone out against Brighton and Rasmus Hojlund has denied a goal that should have been his before the long stretch of him not scoring.
Or it's not an offside that wasn't an offside for Garnacho against Arsenal at the Emirates.
Okay, well, that was Erik ten Hag that kept bringing that up.
Like every week.
I was very, very annoyed at Michael Oliver.
Cobbie said it's not the show.
Sorry. This is why we
tried.
This is why we don't like talking about it too much in the podcast. Once we start,
referees bore me senseless. I'm sorry. like VAR, it just bores me senseless. And people, every football fan thinks that there's a conspiracy against their team. There isn't. I saw that challenge with Cunha the other day. Cunha appealed for it pretty strongly, didn't he? The crowd,
nobody else really did.
The crowd didn't.
I think the thing is, when you're in the stadium, this is a bit of a kind of explanation maybe as to why our focus wasn't on that. If you're watching it on the TV and they'll make replay after replay, it's in your mind. In the stadium, it doesn't really feel like that, so you're not really thinking about it. And obviously, we came straight away into the studio to chat about it. So I think probably on reflection, maybe it was a pen, but equally, I don't think United should have to rely on stuff like that to get through and get points and wins.
Yeah, I think as well, there was so much positivity about the way that Cunha had played in the game and also Mbeumo as well, and what they did together, that ended up being the focus, because there was a genuine excitement and an X factor to those two that we'd missed in United's attack.
Yep, two of the main reasons why there was positivity, even though there was a defeat on Sunday. And that'll only take it so far. United need to start winning games now, and I think Manchester United will. But it was a good game on Sunday. Just a shame, as we said on Sunday, that Manchester United lost the match. But it's a good point Laurie makes. You're in the stadium, it happens, you move on very quickly.
Yeah.
You do not say multiple replays in slow motion because you're at the match. So you've seen stuff in a different way.
Yeah, that is true. It's a good point. Can we talk about De Ligt? You mentioned him a moment ago, actually. I saw quite a few shouts saying that was potentially his best game for Manchester United in the way that he performed the role of the central centre-back. You've written about De Ligt as well, Carl. I mean, what did you think of how he went on Sunday?
Yeah. Really, really good game.
It's quite a big call, him or Maguire, wasn't it, really?
It was. One I got wrong, as Laurie pointed out in the last episode.
You got Dallo right.
He's a really, really interesting centre-back for me. So I've done a piece. It's on The Athletic now. It's Thursday morning. So earlier this summer, when United unveiled the new home kit, Phil Jones and Wes Brown was part of an Adidas event, and I just went to both of them. Tell me what you think is good about all of United centre-backs. So they gave me loads about what they like about De Ligt, loads about what Aiden Heaven, about Lissandro. And one thing Wes Brown said was, De Ligt plays a lot more like me than I first expected, which if you are over the age of 30, you might put an eyebrow up. And if you're under the age of 25, that might need some clarification there. So, and Wes Brown said, first thing about him is like big, broad shoulders. Like De Ligt's a big, strong boy. And I think the duel he had with Victor Gyökeres, I know there's been 2 or 3 bits where it's been clipped up about Gyökeres bumping him off. But for the most part, De Ligt had him buttoned up in the proverbial jail cell. Great, fantastic.
He was loads in the air against him, didn't he?
Yeah, really, really good in the air. Also, really, really important is he's getting gobbier. And one thing that's really, really important when you're playing the middle centre back is you have to be talking all the time.
You love a gobby centre
half. You
half,
have to be a gobby centre
back. Carl's gobby on
I am
the
a gobby centre half.
and on the pitch at Old Trafford. So
yeah, true. I mean, Ruben Amorim did say in his press conference, I think it's your question, about the fact that he wants that player to be running the game for United. So in that sense, if they're organising things and creating some of the tactical setups on the field, they need to be gobbied.
They have to be. It's often talked about how the middle centre back has to have the other two on a string. And Phil Jones, I called him Mr. Jones when we started the interview, and he went,
I love who you call Mr. and who you don't call Mr. You're very respectful.
Did you call Wes Mr. Brown?
No, I've known Wes for a little bit now.
Oh, okay. You've gone past the Mr. stage.
So,
Mr. Amorim it was, though, on the press conference.
Still call him Mr. Amorim. Okay. So I went, Mr. Jones, good afternoon. And he sort of went, oh, okay.
I've not been called Mr. Jones.
And I said, do many people call you Mr. Jones? He goes, no, it's just Phil. And one thing he said, because he's played in the back three at United for 2015 under Louis van Gaal. And he said, when you're playing in that back three, particularly if you're one of the wide players, it's really important to have the middle centre back telling you when you can press, particularly if you're not rapid. So, and I think this is really interesting for De Ligt in that he's kind of in competition for the middle role with Maguire. He's also kind of in competition with Yoro for the right centre-back role as well. The fact he can do both, really, really useful for Amorim, but it also means he might not start as many games as I think some United fans want. And I try to reflect that in the piece. I've written, the comment section is already telling me I'm completely wrong and De Ligt is the best centre-back of all time and he's going to play every single game. But there's so many complex things when you're talking about a back three. I also had a great conversation with Ahmed, who works in our data and tactics department at The Athletic, who also pointed out De Ligt, even though he's been around for ages, he only turned 26 this summer, he might be a player for the now, for the future, who's also really good in the now. Because you look at United centre-back situation, Luke Shaw's contract nearing its end, Harry Maguire's current contract nearing its end. We could get to a situation where, De Ligt is going to be the main centre-back, perhaps not this season, but next season, the season beyond that. So good performance for him. Want to see a lot more from him. I want to see him, keep being Kobbie and really, really be more aggressive when you're passing. This came up 2 or 3 times when I was at Bayern Munich, that he's a safe passer. Whereas when you're playing in a back three, you want to take more risk and try and break.
He made Old Trafford nervous with one of his bounce passes from Adey's ball at one point, which we'll probably see more of as the season goes on.
I spoke to him on the pre-season tour, did a big interview with him. He's an intelligent lad.
He is,
and he spoke on a variety of subjects with intelligence, way beyond the normal footballer cliches. And one of the points he was making was that he's always played in a 4 throughout his career. So this is an adjustment for him, but he believes more in the quality of the players rather than the system and the tactics of the manager. Thought that was quite interesting. He and Harry Maguire will also both say that they can play in multiple positions. They get on well. There's a good relationship between them. I think he's in a good place, De Ligt. He's enjoying living in Manchester. He's not even been into town yet. He's just...
Has he not?
No, he just said, I never go into town. It might have been in once.
Okay, I was going to say.
Selfridges or something.
Yeah, but he's really enjoying being here.
Yeah,
I think this could be a good season for him. I think he's a very good defender, and people who've been critical of him have like, well, why have these clubs let you go? But he's seen being at Ajax and Juventus and Bayern Munich as being learning experiences at all. So I'm pretty keen to watch how he does this year, because there were high hopes when he came in.
It's been tough for him. Yeah. So he's got captain of Ajax at age 19 in that Eric Ten Hag team that gets to the Champions League semi-final.
Did he just credit you on an Ajax fact?
He did.
You're going to get in trouble when you go.
The only reason I did that is because I know how he got made captain, and so it's quite a fun story. I think I've told it on the podcast already. He basically, they lost 3-2 at home, away to Vitesse Arnhem in a match that Mason Mount played in for Vitesse Arnhem, actually. And
that's hence why you know all about this situation.
Damn, I've let you in there, haven't I? And apparently, at full time in the game, all the Ajax players were complaining about the referee, the conditions, the pitch, and sort of blaming. And they were chasing the title at this point as well, or trying to hunt down PSV. And De Ligt came in and said, listen, you've got to look at yourselves. It's not about all these different conditions. If we want to be champions,
big shout at 18.
Big shout. And he was telling people older than him that kind of stuff. And Ten Hag saw that, thought, I like what I'm hearing here. And the next day, basically, I had a discussion with his coach and made him captain.
It's been a really strange career for him, because he has that sort of breakout season. And I know this does the rounds on social media a lot about how in the last 6 or 7 seasons, he's had a new head coach. So, and he's even joked about this last October about how, on average, he only ever works with a head coach for 1.5 seasons. And he went, hopefully things will change. And then Ten Hag got sacked that October.
Oh, dear.
It's really good that you've raised the point about he normally plays in a back 4, because when he plays for the national team, I don't think Ronald Koeman is quite having him in a back 3. So he got sent off in Euro 2020 when there you go. When the Netherlands got knocked out by the Czech Republic. During Euro 2020, Koeman used him primarily on the left side of the back 3, and I think that probably hasn't really suited him. He's played some in the middle, he's played some on the right, and then he got subbed off in what Koeman said for his own good in a 2-2 draw against Germany. And I think that's never quite gelled with him in the national team playing in a back 3. And I think, it's a big year for him, because he wants to get a starting position for Manchester United, because he really does need to prove to Koeman he can do this back 3 system ahead of the World Cup.
Yeah, this season is big for World Cup places, isn't it? It's a narrative that's throughout a lot of the stories so far. We've just mentioned there about Matthijs de Ligt being in competition with Harry Maguire for that central spot in Manchester United's back 3. Well, Andy has been in conversation with that exact guy just this week. Here's a little section of his chat with Harry Maguire.
What's the dressing room like? Is there a good feeling there? You having the manager? Is there support? Is there genuine optimism?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great feeling in the dressing room. I think it was nice, if I'm being honest, to just feel like it was a bit of a fresh start after last season. Last season was so tough to play in the situation that we was in. I mean, February, March time, and we've got nothing to play for. It was a real tough, apart from the Europa League, obviously, and everyone was focusing on that. But then when you get beat in the Premier League, it still piles down on you. It was a tough situation for the manager to come into, and all his staff, because he was really preparing for, obviously, the Europa League, and we never had a settled team in the Premier League. So I think this season you're going to see a lot more competitive from us in the Premier League. But listen, the camp is always positive going into a season when you play for this club. It determines how the results come and how the performances are to see how it goes, and that's what we need to drive and maintain and make sure that it stays positive throughout, because we want to get good results and good performances.
You're in a good place now with Manchester United fans. Do you feel that? You feel appreciated? Your family go to all the games, don't they? They're smiling now. It's good to see.
Yeah, I feel in a good place. I'm in a real good place. It's been a couple of years now where I feel like I've played really well for this club again. And I personally, I only had 6 months really where I had a bad dip of form. The previous 2 years was excellent. I've been a lot better in the last 2.5 years. So no, I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place with the club and the fans. I've got a real good bond with them, and it's a real special place to play, and it's a huge privilege and honour to play for this club, and it's something that I'll always be forever grateful for.
Well, Andy, first of all, the sound of children playing in the background was lovely. Where were you speaking to Harry?
I was on a field by Stretford High School, very close to Old Trafford. 90% of the kids wore Manchester United shirts, which was pretty normal because we're in Manchester. And it was great. This is Manchester United's foundation, working with government funds and Trafford Borough Council to provide free sports classes for children from socially challenged areas. And I saw it with my own eyes. I heard it. It was wonderful to see. I mean, I'm from that part of Manchester, and they didn't know Harry Maguire was coming down.
Wow.
And he turned up, and all the kids went, "It's Maguire! Maguire!" And then they all sat down and started singing, "Whoa, Harry Maguire." In Stretford's got a great musical history. This is 200 yards from where Morrissey grew up. JK from Jamiroquai was born in Stretford. People don't know that.
I did not know that. And from Leeds?
No, born in Stretford. Yeah. And it was great. The foundation do lots of really, really good stuff, and just giving the kids healthy meals, stuff that other people might take for granted.
Yeah.
And then Harry joined in, started playing football with him. And he scored. He went absolutely mad, celebrated.
Knee slide.
No, he didn't really.
Harry's got a great knee slide celebration.
Kids were asking him.
Hasn't he? Yeah, forgot about that.
Kids were just asking him all sorts of questions. And
you got a good insight from him, though. I mean, he is an open talker when he wants to be, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good talker. I spoke to him for 15 minutes.
And he's a key part of this leadership group that Ruben Amorim's put together as well. He's sort of elevated himself back to being almost the second captain of this group, really.
Yeah. And with good reason. He plays it down a bit. He said that this leadership idea has been over-reported. He said he was
doing it anyway, I think, by all accounts.
Doing it anyway.
Yeah.
The takeout I get from him is that the dressing room is a better place.
Yeah.
And I've spoke to him pretty consistently through good and bad ever since he's come to the club. I've spoke to his parents, I've spoke to his agent, and he's in a good place now. Although he pointed out, as we heard there, that his bad run of form wasn't actually for that long, but he got a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
Some of it was so beyond the pale.
Well, the abuse lasted longer than bad form.
Well out of order. He's a good lad. He's a working class lad from Sheffield who's good at football. His family watch him around the world playing football. And he's speaking now with more confidence because I think he's more sure of his position, and spoke really well about De Ligt, for example, as well. The dressing room is I spoke to him and others after the 24 Cup final outside the dressing room in Wembley, and I could see that all was not as good as I think it is now. But as he also said, this is pre-season, this is the start of the season.
True, yeah.
The world's wonderful, it's sunny, shiny new signings. We all think things are going to get better. We have been here before, but I think there's more to it this time.
Let's talk about another one of the players who didn't get into the game at all, actually, in the end, Kobbie Mainoo. We had so many questions. Talk the Devils Instagram account at TOT Devils, if you're not following it already, put out a little request yesterday to say, have you got any questions for us? My goodness, there was hundreds. Thank you to everyone who got in touch. But a lot of them were on Kobbie Mainoo. Where does he fit? Why didn't he play? And what do we think happens next? It could be a podcast on its own in some ways, but what do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because the game state as well was United are behind, need a goal. Kobbie Mainoo has shown, not least against Lyon, that in tense, pressurised situations, he can have that moment of quality around the box. Liverpool, another example, obviously the FA Cup final goal. So to bring on Ugarte, okay, maybe you're just thinking, well, that's, he's your holder and then you can retain possession more, but he didn't have a good performance at Ugarte, kind of gave the ball away and it didn't work for me. So, where does that leave Kobbie Mainoo? I think probably his best performances were number 10, weren't they, for United last season? But clearly he's not going to get in there, certainly not to start games. Maybe he could finish games, certainly. But I think you will see a rotation because he's got Casemiro, Fernandes, Ugarte and Mainoo, really. And he actually did say Mason Mount as well, didn't he, the other day? So
he said maybe Mason Mount a deeper midfield pivot.
Yeah.
What if United were offered 50 million for Kobbie tomorrow?
So this has been a kind of consistent theme, hasn't it, since January, when it was reported that United, might, not openly, but if clubs came to them with offers for Garnacho and Mainoo, might reluctantly sell. I think it's been a consistent thing throughout the summer in terms of Mainoo's position, some uncertainty about exactly where he goes with United, and then does that then lead to an exit. I was told pretty confidently, pretty strongly a few weeks ago that he wouldn't be leaving. But I do think that there's been some inquiries, or at least some kind of questions about whether he is still at the club beyond this window. So whether that there's some debate that goes on now if he really isn't going to get games. But I think, I don't know, I feel like he'll stay at United, and I feel like it might be an interesting season for him, trying to force his way into the picture. Because he's obviously got so much quality, but does it quite marry up with what Ruben Amorim wants? Should Ruben Amorim just be able to find a place for him in the team because he has got this quality, because you've got that, I'm not saying that he deserves to play just because he's come through the academy, but you've got that link with United that I feel like you need to have that kind of heartbeat throughout the team still. And obviously, if Mainoo's not in the squad, it does bring perhaps to an end that link all the way back to 1937. I know Tom Heaton's currently holding the torch on that as well. But
Tyler Fredrickson on the bench today as well. But those two players, potentially, if everyone's available, are not going to be in the squad. So it could almost be, now Toby Collier's on loan, Harry Amas sounds like he's going to be, he's gone out as well.
I don't think Collier counts I think he signed a deal at Brighton.
He was given an academy number though, like when they came through number, whatever.
I mean, to be fair, it's Tony Park, isn't it, that sort of decided the rules for this,
okay,
which I think are fair, in terms
he's on loan anyway, so it is Kobbie Mainoo who is carrying the torch on this, and it's a proud record for the club. It's something that I presume even the new leadership group would want to continue because it's such a big part of Manchester United's legacy, and it'd be awful if, in my opinion, if that record came to an end. Does he fit the system, Kobbie?
If your system cannot fit a player of Mainoo's talent, then I have questions over how good your system is. That is me saying that as a Ghanaian heritage football fan. Okay, so I'm going to give Mainoo a little bit more of a benefit of doubt. That's just personal.
Well, I think I'll speak from my personal experience. He's a local lad. I'll give him more slack.
So you're going to give him as well. Local lad, you're going to give him more slack. I'm going to give him more slack
as well.
Exactly. Doing rondos in Chicago, because it's shouldering them with Casemiro. That's the kind of vibes you want to see.
Amorim wants his central midfielders to be out of possession, aggressive, and Mainoo is good in terms of. It probably has a little bit to go in terms of positioning. He's putting on a lot of muscle weight, and I think he's up for it. One of the things that I will probably ask Amorim about in a future press conference is last season he said Mainoo is improving in loads of ways, and he said, I know you English people think he's the finished product, but he still has much to learn. So I think I'll probably ask Amorim, well...
He's only 19, isn't he?
He's only 19. There's loads of stuff. And I think one thing that is the question mark that will probably end up defining these next 3 or 4 seasons is, can he develop that long switch pass. So look, we talk about the Premier League being all about physicality and we all need to be up and down and running. There's also a Premier League that has found space for players like Jorginho. So the lack of a fifth gear shouldn't be debilitating if you've got a great passing range and passing accuracy and passing intelligence. And for Mainoo, I know short spaces we all see him in short spaces. Given the ball, the defender's coming up to him. He's like, no, I'm going to wriggle past you. We know how good he is in the final third. I think the big one for Amorim, the big one for all the central midfielders in that too is if the ball goes out into the channel and it comes to you, can you look up, see Dorgu running wide, Dallo running wide?
You saw that against Arsenal repeatedly in that first half especially, didn't you?
Can you hit that 20, 30-yard ball into them first time so they can take it? I'd love to hear what Paul Scholes thinks about Mainoo's passing in particular, because I think that's the tutor he probably needs. Like Scholes just going, here's how you hit, here's how I found Rooney, here's how I found this person. Or
well, in terms of an aerobic comparison, it's a pretty good comparison because it wasn't one of Paul's strengths either, getting around the pitch and being that dynamic and intense presser.
It's not, I want to be very clear, it's not that Mainoo can't run and that's why Amorim hasn't got a place for him. I think we haven't seen enough of Mainoo really pushing the boundaries of his long passing, and long passing is going to be really important for anyone who's playing central midfield for United this season.
I think running is a factor. I'd love Kobbie to be a success at Manchester United long term. Used the word gear, I thought that was quite interesting. One reason Manchester United looked at Baleba from Brighton is they think he's a player who's got 5 gears. And if you look at the existing Manchester United midfielders, there's not really anyone with that box-to-box capacity who has got 5 gears. Casemiro certainly hasn't. A different type of players. You're quite right to mention Paul Scholes. He wasn't that type. But Manchester United's current technical analysis is that they want that type of player. And you can see that the team wants it.
I think we saw it 2 or 3 times against Arsenal. Bruno Fernandes has improved in that box-to-box role, but he's still in his mind a number 10 and a playmaker, and he's going to push up, which means the person next to him is going to need to do the running of 1.5 men. I'm not sure if that's fair, but you have to be up for that, and that increases the difficulty for a person like Mainoo, who I think Mainoo next to a Baleba type could work quite well. Unfortunately, you have to play next to Fernandes, and this is why I think we're seeing the duos. It's Fernandes and Casemiro and Mainoo and Ugarte. Because that partnership is just a little bit smoother.
Even Amorim has said Bruno or Kobbie in a couple of answers that's caught my ear. So that feels to me like it's an either or with those two rather than both together. But it's a situation for us to keep an eye on, certainly. Right, let's do a little flick of transfers because there is only, just over 10 days remaining in this summer transfer window. It still feels like there's a lot of things to sort out for Manchester United. Again, Laurie, questions after question after question after question about the goalkeeping situation. Now, we were pretty clear, I think, on the show after the Arsenal game that we don't think United are going to go back to the market just based on what happened in that match. But is there any rumblings at all of the goalkeeper situation being on the agenda for United in these remaining days?
Yeah, it sort of depends who you speak to.
Okay.
I think that ultimately, if they're going to sign a goalkeeper for money, it depends on Andre Onana leaving it. And like as I said, there's
been a few sort of bits of speculation about
Onana.
Yeah. Maybe because he was left out of the squad completely.
It's an interesting.
Nothing the Athletic have reported.
Yeah, we need to get into that at some point. I kind of want to make sure that I'm sort of saying accurately about that situation because obviously it wasn't just if he wanted him to play,
he could have played.
He could have played. Yeah. So that's something
you could tell that from what Amorim said. To be fair,
yeah. But I think there's elements to it that are kind of interesting to investigate, and we can perhaps come into that in due course. I think there perhaps is some people at United that think they need to get a new goalkeeper. I think that perhaps is quite patently obvious, to be honest. But then you come to Donnarumma has been the big one that people keep asking about. His wages are just the demands are huge. So I just don't see how United sort of go for that there's other people that say to me that they could see him going to Man City still as well, even though James Trafford is there now. And
doesn't seem like a City goalkeeper to me either, considering some of the criticisms of his game.
It's fascinating what happens there, because obviously he's out the pitch at PSG.
But that also doesn't really make him a United goalkeeper either, in the way that Amorim wants to play.
If you watch that Arsenal game and you were annoyed at how Bayern conceded, Donnarumma isn't exactly the goalkeeper who's going to fix that. While Donnarumma is a good shot stopper, he has been criticised throughout his career at PSG and at AC Milan and at times playing for Italy about his frailties on high balls and crosses and corners. This is unfortunately one of those things of when you watch. He's 6'5" and surprisingly susceptible, just getting bullied in the 6-yard box. Someone once called him a tall man and not a big man. Yeah.
And to be fair, Bayern's passing was actually pretty good as well to sort of make that point, which is maybe why Amorim was so strong in his defence of him after the game, because he's like, well, actually, he might, well, who does he start against Fulham? That's going to be interesting.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but we had a great email on that from Zahir, who said, I agree that Altay had to do better for the goal and the high ball coming into the box, but I also felt he contributed a lot to how we could play fluidly. The way he sprayed the passes, the accuracy of it surprised me really. For example, the pass to Cunha when he did that lovely flick around Ben White, for example, and comparing it with all of our keepers, I feel like Altay has had a bigger impact with penalty saves and things like that. Am I wrong? What do you guys think? I mean, maybe on the impact, I'm not sure, because Andre Onana's played so much more. But there has been a little bit of revisionism about the way that Altay played at the weekend, potentially.
I think that's a fair comment in that email. I think if you say to Manchester United now, is goalkeeping area an issue? The answer would be yes. As Laurie said, there would absolutely be people who like to change the situation. Is it going to happen in this transfer window? That's doubtful for several reasons. Finances being one of them, existing contracts being another one. I was having a cup of tea with my mum the other day in Manchester, and a man come up to me and said, I can see you're busy, but Donnarumma, yes or no? I said, I don't know. He went, you must know, just yes or no. I'm like, having a brew with my mum. You can see why these transfer journalists stay in the bedroom and don't actually go out in real life.
I think some transfer journalists do leave their rooms just to clarify.
You do now. You do.
Occasionally.
You're outside too much.
Well, there's one.
There's also just like David Ornstein absolutely does, and he's fantastic. I've got to say that. But there are plenty who don't. Is that a fair comment as well?
That's fair.
Is that a more reasonable way of doing it?
Well, just to add, I mean, Lamon's the
Diogo Costa's another one that's been mentioned this week too. Yeah.
I think they've got a list of goalkeepers that they again are
Lamon's is an interesting
and deciding to pursue or not.
So Lamon's is at Royal Antwerp. You do the big old statistical data drop, and he's doing things that remind you of a young De Gea, and he just faces 10 shots a game, and he's just octopus arms everywhere.
Saves them all.
Yeah. Great, fine. Some questions over the sturdiness of his hands. He's super
like De Gea originally.
Yeah.
He's super young. Good potential there. Royal Antwerp's sporting director is Mark Overmars, which when I first did my so there's a piece on the Athletic shopping for Amman goalkeepers, and I was on the fence about putting Lammens on there, because while I thought it was good, the fact that Overmars was his sporting director, I went, hang on, is Ten Hag going to send him a text and nick him instead? So I was right on the fence with him. So he's apparently available. Overmars has been very, very clear about that. What we know about how Overmars likes to do is he does it all via WhatsApp rather than in the way other directors do, where they sort of have a coffee in hotel lobbies.
Yeah.
So
quite a lot of people do also do WhatsApp though.
There's a transfer expert for you.
Yeah.
Just.
So he's apparently gettable in a way that not all of the goalkeepers on the market are. But look, every single goalkeeper, when you watch him for long enough, you're like, oh, wait, hang on. Their queries there. I think this is just, it's really tricky, because Bayern, absolutely, good game against Arsenal in some patches. Unfortunately, he made a big mistake.
Well, it gets overshadowed by that, unfortunately, doesn't it? That's the way you're going to be judged ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing with some of these goalkeeper targets that we've talked about. They have to absolutely ensure that they're going to be much better than Altay Bayernde and Andre Onana in goal for United. I know people will respond straight away and say, well, look at the errors that they've made. Look at the way Onana has played over the last 2 years. It's not the goalkeeper that we thought we were getting. But the ones who are coming in, have got similar reputations to what Onana had before he arrived. So unless you're guaranteeing that you're spending a load of money and it's definitely, unquestionably going to improve the situation, that's kind of the dilemma that United have got with this situation in the remainder of the window. Let's talk about Rasmus Hojlund. He's another one who has got a big question mark that needs to be sorted out over the next 10 days. There's lots of other things rumbling around, but I think with Hojlund, there is a clear intention that United want to get something done with him.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously we touched on it, didn't we, in the last episode in terms of him being out of the squad, and that's the first. Well, I suppose Fiorentina maybe was the first. Maybe actually Everton in Atlanta was the first sort of sign from the powers that be.
Because it follows from Chicago.
We have a lot
of questions about Chicago.
I mean, so his long scoring run, lack of scoring run last season maybe was the first point of that. But anyway, so clearly there's clubs that are interested in him. I'm told that Napoli have joined the
Andy did
hunt
say
for him.
The end of the window provides opportunities where you don't see them before, and an injury to Romelu Lukaku in this instance has brought Napoli to the table.
There we go. And obviously they've had success, haven't they, with other Premier League players and also Manchester United players going there and tearing it up.
MVPs.
So Hojlund, I'm sure, could look at what Scott McTominay's done and think, okay, I'll have a bit of that. AC Milan also there, RB Leipzig, I'm told, which is kind of interesting, obviously, given United have just signed someone from them. I think there's a few. It's all down to Hojlund's position, though, really. Like he has said he wanted to stay. Does that change now as the sort of days go on? There's some people that suspect a bit of a softening of that attitude, but I think certainly the sporting presentation and the financial package have to be right for him to agree to that. And he's as a United fan, he's his whole career, I think he was overjoyed to join Manchester United. So to then leave the club is going to be a wrench for him if he does ultimately choose that. I think it's still up in the air a little bit, to be honest. So let's see how the situation develops in these final 10 days. But there's certainly clubs interested in him.
Yeah, okay. We'll keep an eye on that situation. One thing that has been confirmed now by Manchester United away from transfers is that Stephen Torpey will be the new academy director of the club. He's replacing Nick Cox, friend of the show. Hello, Nick, if you're listening. He'll be moving on to Everton in due course. Exactly when this happens, did it say in the detail of the announcement when it's?
It said over the next few sort of weeks, months. I think it's a period of time. I think there's been some theory that Nick Cox would maybe stay until the autumn time to help with the transition, to make sure there's a smooth change from one person to the next. Obviously the summer window for Everton is kind of it's almost done, isn't it? So him going in now wouldn't necessarily change anything like that. So I think there's going to be a period of time where there's some handover essentially.
Okay, this broke basically just as we were coming into the studio, so I've not actually had a chance to read the announcement yet. But of course, there's an Andy Mitten link. Why wouldn't there be to Manchester United's new academy director?
Steve Torpey. He played with my brother at FC United in 2005. I think they were the first signings for the new football club, and I think they both dropped down like 5 divisions to play for FC. Right. My brother went from Altrincham down to FC, and Steve Torpey was a very good player actually at that level, and I think he played league football at places like Scunthorpe, who's coming towards the end of his career. He's obviously done very well in coaching, working at clubs like Brentford and smaller clubs like Liverpool and Manchester City, and then but best wishes to him. It's a big job with a lot of responsibility. I think you see more evidence here of the new people bringing in their people, which happens in football all the time.
He worked with Jason Wilcox, didn't he, for a long time at Man City, basically. He was coaching from the underage groups all the way up to like 18s, 20s and that kind of thing. Then was Brentford Academy Director in January 2024. So he's only been there a short period. And now to switch over to United.
Obviously, this is a real key position for United. Do we know why Torpey is the choice? What is it about his credentials that makes him the right person for this role?
We'll have to sort of ask the relevant questions as we go on. I'm told that he's a very good coach. So does that represent a bit of a shift? Nick Cox has got I think A license, pro license. Sorry, now, UEFA, not A.
And they're hard to get them.
They're very hard to get. So there's that element, but I don't think he was ever necessarily on the pitch as a coach. He's kind of an organizer, a broader picture kind of academy director. Does this show there's perhaps a bit of a shift in what they want from their academy director to be on the grass, kind of focusing on the development of these players? Obviously, at City you had likes of Cole Palmer, James McAtee coming through when when Torpey was there. So I think maybe that's what they're looking to tap into. Obviously, that relationship with Wilcox is important, so he's got an understanding of what Torpey's like and vice versa, and they can, you think, work, with good synergy. Obviously, it's another Man City person, so that's something perhaps just to keep an eye on. It's interesting, right, that you've got this influence from City. Omar Barada obviously being at the top of that, now into United, been very successful at City. Does that translate over to United? And so, yeah, let's see how it goes. I think he's certainly somebody that has been sort of suggested before. Now, I've got to give like a hat tip as well to Nathan Salt at the Daily Mail, who broke this story this week, and also Steve Railston, the MEN, who linked his name in United a few weeks ago. So I give credit to young, really good journalists out there. But I think it's going to be something to... It's an interesting choice, right? Because it was such a big role that I think became... even bigger perhaps with Nick Cox, the way that he went about things. So what is the responsibility? What are they going to be able to do?
It's a really good point. A couple of things you said on the grass. Do you want your coach on the grass or
in an office?
Or in an office? And even then, it's been said to me, this is a job for more than one person. That's without the grass side of it.
Well, that's happened in the past as well.
Yeah. So it's a big job. You've got
Nick,
a lot
Nicky
of people
Butt said that to me actually for a piece not long ago, because he obviously was the academy director before Nick Cox took over, and he didn't really like the kind of admin of the role. There's quite a lot of that, in terms of the regulations for signing young players. Recruitment's a big thing, obviously. How's that going to all marry up? But yeah, I think it's such a big role at United. So maybe they are reducing it in Stephen Torpey's case. And maybe I don't know, do they hire somebody else? I don't know. Or does Jason Wilcox assume that? It's going to be really interesting. Or does Torpey just grow and develop? Because obviously this is what you do in your career, right?
Yeah, it's another situation to keep an eye on, and I'm sure there'll be more information about Stephen Torpey's appointment over the coming days. Just before we move it on, if you've not hit subscribe yet and you're watching us on YouTube, please do that. Hit like, get involved in the comments as well. devilspod@theathletic.com is the email account if you want to get in touch with us. At TOT Devils on X, TikTok and Instagram. You can follow us on social media on those channels. I am forgetting, I think, probably something, because there's so many different ways to plug now. But we also have our live shows as well. Thank you for those of you who bought tickets so far. All the details are in the show description. But essentially, in October, Talk of the Devils Live will be in Dublin, Belfast and Cork for the very first time. In November, we are in Manchester and London as well. So get involved. We'd love to see you all there. Right, Fulham next, and Andy, Manchester United need a win. Simply, don't they?
Usually get one at Fulham.
Yeah, we do.
Yes or no, Andy? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
91st minute.
Played 8, won 8.
Yeah, it's true.
Played 8, won 8.
Yeah.
Scored 18, conceded 3 on the last 8 visits in the Premier League to Craven Cottage.
Wow. Well, it's good that it's not in the FA Cup. I remember a birthday once being spoiled by a 3-0 defeat at Fulham about 12 years ago, but let's keep the positivity.
Please.
United are good there.
But they need to win.
They need to win. And actually, I think it's a good time to play Fulham, because I know there are frustrations there about their lack of summer recruits. And that was prevalent when they were doing the pre-season in the Algarve.
One of 3 Premier League sides, and that includes United as well, who've not taken a penny in transfer fees for selling players so far this summer.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, the other one, which Eza will change in due course.
So is that complacency? Is that satisfaction that Marco Silva has got them in a good position and that their existence is about surviving? I think that stand is finally going to be fully open. I believe that when I see it.
You're going for a swim first?
I got invited into that stand, but I'm not going to go into it.
Why?
Because
he's a man of the people.
I'm a man of the people.
But it's a football stand. This must be a hell of a dilemma.
You get an invite to a free rooftop swimming pool. You're in there, Andy. Come on.
I've been
in a football stand.
Yeah, with a view over the river. And instead, I'm going to stand outside the away end and sell fanzines on the street.
This is, I think, it's really good you mentioned that Fulham haven't actually made too many signings. Something that's also occurring in London that weekend is the AEW wrestling show.
How have you brought this to wrestling, Carl?
Because Tony Khan owns AEW, the wrestling company.
Okay.
So this is a very weird weekend to be a Fulham fan, because your owner is actually going to be closer to Wembley Stadium organising one of the big wrestling shows. It's Forbidden Door, rather than...
Can I just point something out at this point? For newer listeners and viewers on YouTube, they will be unaware of your heritage in wrestling.
I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I had several hours worth of wrestling training between.
Forbidden Door?
No,
Okay.
Oh, he actually wrestled. You remember?
Yeah, I used to wrestle.
What was the name again?
I was an evil accountant called Thaddeus.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. You don't remember this? We've done it on the podcast before, but it's a while ago. Fantastic.
Right. I'm not going to explain what Forbidden Door is and why it's called Forbidden Door because this is a football podcast. But one of the constant frustrations Fulham fans have often had.
Oh, you're bringing it back. Thank you.
One of the constant frustrations Fulham fans have is the fact that their owner, he's got like 3.5 jobs. He's the sporting director of Fulham. He's the head of a wrestling company. He's also got a very prominent role in the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. And this weekend is
and he mows the lawn on a Saturday.
It's a very good example of the fact that this person with huge amounts of responsibility for a Premier League football club is
not going to be there.
Probably going to be at another venue in London that weekend because he's running a wrestling company. Last time we were at Fulham, it was the protest about the increase in ticket prices.
Yeah, had laminated cards.
Yellow cards. This has been a really interesting venue for United. So last season, very, very drab 1-0 victory brought about, but
January.
That's the Sandro Martinez's deflected goal. That was one of the very few victories Amorim had over a team that wasn't getting relegated last season. Season before that, Bruno Fernandes in the game where Harry Maguire, it looked as if Harry Maguire was concussed, but he might play through the rest of the game. Season before that, Alejandro Garnacho, last minute winner.
Just before the
World Cup, that everyone's really excited about before Cristiano Ronaldo does his interview with Piers Morgan. So,
that was was that night, was it?
Yeah.
It was.
So, Fulham is a successful hunting ground, but there have been 2 or 3 times where you're sort of leaving Craven Cottage going, let's get out of here.
How?
Yeah. Like nick one there. So really want a positive performance there. Hopefully,
it's funny, isn't it? Because if they could just go nick one there, you'll be happy because they've nicked one, but then you'll be like, well, hang on a minute, what happened to all the cohesion and the brilliant interplay against Arsenal?
I'm hoping for good performance, winning result, and a clean sheet as well.
Can I put a request in?
Oh, yeah.
If anyone listening to this lives near Fulham, I need to park my car somewhere. No. And I'm stuck before the game. I've got to go to an airport after the match, and there's not many cars parked around Fulham because it's like posh.
Would the invite to the sort of pool-topped stand not come with a car parking space then?
I'm not going in that posh stand.
No, I know you're not, but would it have come with a car parking spot? Yeah.
Doesn't Ratcliffe have a place not too far away? Because that's why he attended the game in January and then got accosted by fans afterwards.
Yeah, well, if you're listening, Big Jim, can I park my car at your house? So it's got to be quite close because I've got to lug a load of fans into the street. I'm not going in that posh stand with the pool where it says bring your trunks before football.
No, okay.
If you need some Speedos, Andy, you know who to
call. You.
Just to bring it back again, if I can, sorry. This does feel important though, doesn't it? After Arsenal to get the result. And they've got this little pocket of games, an important week. There's transfer stuff to get sorted like we've spoken about. But in this week as well, away to Fulham, away to Grimsby, home to Burnley before the international break. It feels like a real opportunity for United to just underline the positivity from the Arsenal game with results, meaningful change in terms of the direction of the group.
Well, because if they lose this, what does that do for the mood?
Slump.
I don't know how United get here every sort of start to the season. It's sort of always, positivity, but laced with that.
We're not quite on a knife edge though, are we?
No, but I think if they come away and they don't score and they lose again, I think then you're starting to really struggle to kind of maintain this sense that they're actually getting some momentum, even if they play well. You just want to change that narrative from, I think I saw a stat, Amorim's the quickest manager to lose 15 games.
You probably saw it on our podcast. Last time we recorded.
He did say it.
It's a really good benchmark.
He was listening.
It's a really good benchmark, as is Burnley next week.
Yeah.
For where Manchester United
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is United have played against a team who've finished second and played well, but lost the game narrowly. And I would expect Manchester United, Fulham have been so 8th, 9th, 10th, and Burnley have come up. You'll get an accurate barometer of where Manchester United are at after these next couple of matches.
It reminds me a bit after the 2-2 draw against Liverpool last season, where Bruno and others were saying, okay, yeah, we got the draw against Liverpool, we played really well, but the thing we've got to really think about is how we play against Southampton afterwards, because we know Amorim, we've had enough evidence now that Amorim can set a team up to get either a positive performance or a positive result against the top 6. He knows low block and bing, bang, bing, bang, boom. But there were multiple times last season where you're going, oh, great, now we can take this positive momentum into playing a team that's going to sit deep. And then there was just nothing.
Well, the Southampton game after that run was like, oh my goodness, until Ahmad.
Exactly. So,
up,
yeah. I think these next 3 games, you want to win. I don't like using the term must win because every game for Manchester United is a must win. But if it's not 3 victories, there's going to be a really uncomfortable international break, unfortunately.
Yeah, with good reason. So this is Manchester United. But I think you've also got to trust the manager and the players that the work they have put in and that they were unlucky against Arsenal to get some results here. And then it's Burnley. I'm going to watch Burnley at Sunderland on Saturday. Carry on.
Can we play the game again about the team? Because that was really good last time, and I thought it was. Oh no! Look at you all. I'll contribute.
Sure,
we got enough. Right?
Yeah. So I picked on Laurie last time to do this. Andy looks like he'd rather be anywhere other than answering this question. So Carl, I'll go to you this time. What do you think the Manchester United 11 will be at Craven Cottage?
Okay, I'm going to go Andre Onana in the stick.
Oh, that we'll come back to that.
I'll stick with Binder. Let's see.
I'm gonna go Lenny Euro left-sided centre-back, Harry Maguire in the middle, Matthijs de Ligt right-sided centre-back. Same again, everywhere in front, but Šeško as your number 9. So I'm going to take Mount out.
Right, so Dalot starts over Ahmad again.
Yep. There were two or three times where Mbeumo and Ahmad were just on top of each other in a way. I'm going, not quite.
Okay.
But then again, Ahmad.
You've just dropped Luke Shaw. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah. What was your centre back?
I've moved Euro from right side to the left side.
The one they finished the game with.
Yep.
The 3 they finished the game with.
The back 3 finished the game with. So I've dropped Luke Shaw and I've dropped Mason Mount.
So Andy's much more bullish now. He's got a platform to.
I've dropped Luke Shaw. I've dropped Luke Shaw. I've dropped Mason Mount, and I've dropped Altay in there.
I mean, that's 3 changes from a pretty positive performance, if not result.
I think they'll stay with Binder. I think you're right on Mount, but I don't know how Šeško's been training this week. But Harry Maguire said he's a real handful, but I'm not sure where his fitness levels are. I think that Luke Shaw will keep his place in the team because he played well last week. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Harry or De Ligt, but I think De Ligt played well enough at the weekend. Interesting.
Any advance?
Yeah,
on those?
I think probably the same as Andy, but I think Šeško over Mount.
Yeah,
even though Mount played well, I thought.
Yeah,
he's dropped Mason Mount.
If you were manager, would you start Mount
every week?
I would probably start him a lot of times.
I mean, most managers do.
Could he then do the thing that Amorim was threatening and drop and replace Casemiro?
No,
probably not.
No,
would he be your captain? Right,
if he'd be my captain, I'd give him a 10-year contract and a statue outside Old Trafford.
We devastated, wasn't it, at that PFA Awards the other night?
No. Well, I mean, there was no United players, on
pretty telling
side.
that. Yeah. An event in Manchester.
Yeah.
And there's no
Well,
Manchester
to be fair, there were
United
no,
players.
well, apart from James Trafford, there were no.
Well, there was a women's
players,
to be fair.
Yeah. I suppose if you're getting nominated, you're up there, aren't you? Although, okay, if you're winning an award, you go in there. Bruno Fernandes could have had, if he'd wanted to, but I can see why he's not just going to sit in the crowd and, clap Mo Salah getting the award again.
Yeah. So Šeško in, that's interesting. Onana back in. Why do you think Onana will be back in?
I think you got to give him a run out. You got to give him some time to build affinity with the back 3, and also you might need to put him in the shop window a bit if you do want to get the goalkeepers going. You might want to go, hello, Europe. Hello, that French football club that inquired about him in the summer. Would you like to see how he plays against Fulham? So there you go.
Okay, it's interesting. Šeško as well. This is the second match in a row where you thought he might go with him. What makes you think that he'll go with him this time with all the information we've had since you last made that call?
Because they didn't score against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I just think some of those moments, where, for example, the ball rolls across the 6-yard box and Cunha's on the, when Raya saves from Cunha and Mbeumo's not quite there, understandably so, he's on the, right-sided 10. Cunha's on the floor kind of going, where were you? I just wonder if Šeško, if he's shown enough in training, if he's fit enough, he's not going to play the full game, is he? But, maybe start him. I think there were some people that thought he could have started against Arsenal just for that kind of impact.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we, as well? Yeah.
Even at United. So
right. More importantly.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't know is the answer, but I don't know. I just get the vibe after Amorim's statement after the game that he will stick with Binder as well. But
okay.
Let's see.
It was very strong, wasn't it? Yeah. We actually had a question about that, Andy. I wonder what you think. So Dan on Instagram said, Amorim seems to be pricklier with media than I've seen before. Are we seeing us returning back to an anyone but United sees mentality within the club?
I think I touched on this in the last pod. I think if he had to do no media, he would do no media. Mm-hmm. He would just focus on getting his team right. It's a contractual obligation when you're a Premier League manager that you do have to do the media.
A lot of media.
Yeah. Especially when you're Manchester United manager. Yeah. I do think he believes. I think there's two things. Defending his players, he's not the first manager to do that. I think he genuinely felt that Binder had a good game. And maybe us in the stadium, we'd seen the mistake, in inverted commas. And he looked at it from an overview that he was pleased with his goalkeeper. I think you were there, weren't you? I was in the mix.
For the press conference, he's been prickly before with media. Like, if you kind of, he's very emotional after a game as well.
The one thing that stuck out to me, and I heard him say it a couple of times last week, was that everyone in this room thinks that Arsenal are going to beat Manchester United, which felt different to stuff that he said in the past. Maybe that did feel a bit like us against
confrontational
everyone else.
Yeah. I think he's always had this element to him. Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily. I think that particular question, he was certainly stronger than I've seen him before. Defending his player and kind of being, not antagonistic, but just sort of taking issue with what the question has been.
Although after the Europa League final, there was similar, wasn't there?
Yeah, true. There we go.
Don't mention that.
Sorry, Andy. I do apologise. It did happen though.
He has felt different in press conferences to start this season.
He's definitely rolled back on some of the stuff.
I would also say he's been happier. Like in Chicago,
he was brilliant.
He was great with us. No question was off limits, and it was nuanced the answers, and so he's just a. He's a human being, isn't he? Like, he loves football. He clearly wants to do well at his job.
One day is not.
Yeah, we've all had those kind of situations, and I think getting grilled by people over and over is an unusual situation for anyone to be
when you put it like that. Yeah. One thing to leave you with, because we're just coming up to an hour, so I think it's time to probably say goodbye, is that Matthijs Cunha's got good history at Fulham. So on his last 2 visits with Wolves to Craven Cottage, he's scored. Last year, he scored twice in a 4-1 win, and both goals were nominated for the November Goal of the Month award in the Premier League as well. They were brilliant. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and have a look at that, because they were really good. So a little bit more of that, please, Matthijs, and then we'll actually be back in this podcast talking about Manchester United getting the performance, getting the result, and the new players shining again, which is what we all want. But for the minute, Andy, Carl, Laurie, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching this episode of Talk of the Devils. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you've not done already. Like the video and also get involved in the comments too. And click the bell to make sure that you never miss an episode with myself, Andy Mitten, Carl Anka and Laurie Whitwell. There's also our social channels at TOT Devils on Instagram, X and TikTok. Thanks for watching.